It was a peaceful day on Earth, with the sun shining brightly over cities and towns. People went about their daily lives, unaware of the brewing storm that would change everything. Far above them, in the vast reaches of space, the aliens watched. They had been observing Earth for centuries, convinced that humanity was weak. The aliens saw humans as nothing more than an insignificant species, primitive and unworthy of attention. On their home planet, the alien council sat in their grand chambers, discussing their next move. These beings, with their advanced technology and superior intellect, had visited countless worlds. They had conquered many civilizations and destroyed others. Earth, in their eyes, was just another stop on their journey. They knew that their fleet, far more advanced than anything the humans could possibly create, could crush the planet in mere hours. But still, they needed more information. And so they sent their best agents to Earth, disguised in ways that no human could detect. They watched, observed, and waited. They saw humans fighting wars, struggling with technology, and squabbling amongst themselves. The aliens laughed. The humans were weak, just as they had thought. The aliens spoke among themselves, mocking the planet below. They had no respect for the inhabitants of Earth. "It's laughable," one alien leader said, his voice filled with disdain. "Look at them, fighting over petty things. They have no chance against us. We will invade, and it will be over before they even know what hit them." The council members nodded in agreement, their minds already made up. They would strike soon. They had underestimated humans before, but this time, they were sure of their victory. Earth's fate was sealed. Back on Earth, no one had any idea what was coming. People continued their lives, going to work, raising families, and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. But far above, the aliens made their final preparations. Ships, each larger and more powerful than anything Earth had ever seen, began to descend toward the planet. Their plan was simple: arrive, conquer, and leave with Earth's resources. As they approached, their weapons systems powered up, ready for the onslaught. They were confident, certain that nothing could stop them. The Earth's defenses were practically non-existent. What could a primitive species do against them? The aliens chuckled at the thought. But little did they know, Earth had a secret so powerful that even the aliens could not have imagined. Hidden deep beneath the surface, far away from prying eyes, the humans had been preparing for this very moment. They had spent decades secretly building a fleet, one that could rival any alien armada. They had been patient, keeping their technology hidden from the rest of the galaxy. The time had come, and they were ready to show the aliens what humanity was truly capable of. The aliens, still mocking humanity, didn't realize how much they had underestimated Earth's potential. As their ships descended, a sudden signal cut through their communication systems. It was encrypted, unlike anything they had encountered before. They tried to trace its origin, but found nothing. It was coming from Earth, but where? One of the alien commanders, his eyes narrowing, raised an eyebrow. "What is this?" "A signal. Coming from Earth," he muttered. He looked at his fellow commanders, but they only shook their heads. The Earthlings couldn't possibly have anything to match their technology. It must be a fluke. But then, the unexpected happened. The alien fleet, still descending on Earth, suddenly stopped in its tracks. A massive, invisible object appeared out of nowhere, right in the middle of the alien armada. It was a ship, unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Its sleek, dark form gleamed with an eerie light, and it seemed to shimmer in and out of sight, as though it was bending reality itself. The alien commanders gasped in disbelief. They had never seen anything like this before. The ship's presence was so powerful, so overwhelming, that it felt as though the very air around them had changed. The once unshakable confidence of the alien fleet began to waver. "What is that?" Another alien leader asked, his voice barely a whisper. "How is this possible? How did they do this?" The aliens had no answers. Their mockery had turned into fear. The humans, they realized, had a secret, one that could not be ignored. In the depths of the earth, the humans were preparing for battle. The Phantom, as they called their hidden fleet, was ready to strike. Its crew, a group of highly trained soldiers and engineers, knew the importance of what was about to unfold. They had spent years building this fleet, carefully designing the ships, and now they would show the aliens that humans were not as weak as they had thought. The mockery had begun, but it was about to come to an end. The time for laughter was over. Now the aliens would learn that humanity was not to be underestimated. The alien fleet hovered above Earth, an intimidating and powerful presence. Their commanders and officers were in a state of disbelief, unable to comprehend what had just happened. They had been mocking humanity, confident in their own superiority, and now a mysterious ship had appeared, seemingly from nowhere. Their arrogant laughter had vanished, replaced by tension and confusion. Commander Zulfar, leader of the alien fleet, stood at the front of the massive command ship. His sharp, glowing eyes scanned the view ahead. The Earth was in plain sight, but now something was different. That strange, invisible ship, the one that appeared out of thin air, loomed before him, its dark, sleek silhouette practically exuding power. It didn't make sense. No human technology should have been able to match the might of his fleet. "What is this?" Zulfar muttered under his breath. He turned to his subordinates, demanding answers. How could this be? No race, not even the most advanced, could hide such a vessel. His second-in-command, a quick-thinking alien named Haran, hurriedly analyzed the data streaming in from their sensors. "We can't detect it properly, Commander. It's not even showing up on our radar correctly. It's like it's bending light around it. We don't know how they're doing this. It's beyond our technology." Zulfar clenched his fists. "This is impossible. We have been monitoring this planet for centuries. How could they have hidden something like this?" Tehran hesitated before speaking again. "Perhaps they've been preparing in secret for far longer than we realized, Commander. But even that seems unlikely. There is no way humans could keep something like this under wraps for so long." The atmosphere within the fleet grew heavier with unease. The alien leaders knew they had underestimated humanity, but they hadn't prepared for this. The humans had somehow developed a weapon, a ship that could not only hide but also appear seemingly out of nowhere. It was a game-changer. Back on Earth, deep underground, the secret fleet known as the Phantom had fully powered up. Thousands of human engineers and soldiers had spent years, even decades, building and perfecting their ships. These were not just ordinary vessels. They were warships designed for stealth and superiority. Humanity had not been idle during the aliens' long observation of their planet. They had been planning, quietly and cautiously, for the day they would need to defend their home. Captain Lyra, commander of the Phantom Fleet, stood at the helm of their flagship, the Vanguard. She gazed at the viewscreen, where Earth's sky slowly filled with the shapes of the alien ships. Her heart raced with anticipation, but she remained calm and focused. "Captain, the fleet is ready," said Lieutenant Harper, her eyes fixed on the data consoles in front of her. "We've initiated the cloaking system, and we're standing by for your orders." Lyra nodded, her face expressionless. "We've trained for this moment for years. The time has come." She tapped a button on her console, and a deep hum resonated throughout the ship. One by one, the Phantom Fleet, which had been hidden beneath the Earth's surface, began to rise. Each ship, nearly invisible to the naked eye, broke through the clouds and joined their place in formation. The ships weren't just cloaked. They were built with technology so advanced that even the aliens couldn't fathom it. These ships were nearly impossible to detect, and even if the aliens saw them, they would have trouble targeting them. The humans had built something that could not be ignored. Back in space, Zulfar's eyes widened as he saw the sudden movement of the mysterious ships. They seemed to materialize from nowhere, appearing around his fleet. For the first time in his life, he felt a chilling sensation of fear. The humans had tricked them. The fleet, which he thought was just a minor threat, had become a real challenge. His once confident alien commanders now stood at attention, unsure of what to do next. The sudden silence on the alien ships was deafening. Zolthar's mind raced as he tried to think of a way to deal with the situation. But the longer he observed, the clearer it became. This was no fluke. This was real. The humans had been hiding this fleet for centuries. On Earth, the Phantom Fleet was now fully deployed. Thousands of warships, each with advanced cloaking technology, hovered in the sky. The commanders of the fleet knew that this was just the beginning. They had to act quickly before the aliens could regroup. "Captain, we're receiving communications from the surface," Lieutenant Harper reported, breaking the silence. "The President is ready for the next phase." Lyra turned to face the lieutenant, her expression hardening. "It's time. Prepare for engagement. The aliens will regret underestimating humanity. The humans weren't going to stand down. This was their home. They would protect it at all costs." The aliens had laughed at them, mocked them, and believed they were nothing more than an insignificant species. Now they would pay for their arrogance. Humanity had hidden its strength for centuries. But the time for secrecy was over. The fight for Earth had begun. As the first of the alien ships attempted to launch its attack, the humans struck. The Phantom Fleet began to move into position, its weapon systems fully activated, and its cloaking technology beginning to flicker in and out of existence. A sharp, sudden flash illuminated the darkened space as the battle began. The sound of weapons fire echoed across the universe, and the alien fleet realized too late. This would not be as easy as they had hoped. The humans had fought back before, and they would fight again. The alien fleet was in complete chaos. Zolthar, once so confident in his position, now found himself scrambling to understand what was happening. His fleet, vast and seemingly invincible, was under attack by a force that had remained hidden for millennia. The humans had done what no one, least of all him, had expected. They had revealed a force far stronger than anyone had ever imagined. Zolthar paced frantically across his command deck, trying to comprehend the situation. The humans had somehow managed to deploy an entire fleet without him detecting it. Not only that, but their ships were hitting their targets with precision and force. His fleet's defenses were being pushed to their breaking points. The shockwaves from the human weapons echoed through the space, rattling every ship in the fleet. "Commander, we've lost contact with the forward fleet," shouted an officer from the communications console. "They're being hit from every angle. Shields are failing. We can't keep up." Zolthar clenched his fists. He had been confident that the invasion of Earth would be quick, easy, and painless. Now he realized that he had grossly underestimated the humans. They weren't just survivors. They were strategists, and their hidden fleet was far more advanced than his own. "Regroup," Zolthar barked. "Focus all fire on their flagship. If we take out their leader, the rest will follow." But as the alien fleet turned its focus toward the Vanguard, the human flagship, they encountered another shocking twist. The Vanguard was not alone. Hundreds of smaller ships, agile and fast, swept in from all directions, moving with the precision of a well-oiled machine. The Phantom Fleet was not just powerful, it was strategic. Each ship had been positioned for maximum effectiveness, and every shot fired was calculated to strike a devastating blow. "Their tactics are flawless," Zolthar muttered. "We never stood a chance." Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, Captain Lyra stood in front of her fleet's control center. The Vanguard was the flagship, but the true power of the Phantom Fleet lay in its ability to coordinate and move like one entity. Each ship was equipped with cloaking technology that allowed them to hide within Earth's atmosphere, blending in with the clouds, mountains, and even the ocean. It was a strategy so sophisticated that even the aliens couldn't find a way to counter it. Lyra's gaze hardened as she watched the unfolding battle. She knew that the key to winning was not only to fight but to overwhelm the enemy with the sheer number and precision of their attacks. Her fleet had been hidden for so long, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Now, that moment had come. Status report, Lyra ordered as she stood tall before her console. Captain, Lieutenant Harper replied. The alien fleet is attempting to regroup, but they're losing coordination. Their ships are damaged, and their communication systems are in disarray. We're overwhelming them. Lyra allowed herself a small nod. Good, but we can't let up. Keep the pressure on them. We need to break their morale. Once they realize they've underestimated us, we win. Meanwhile, aboard the flagship of the alien fleet, Commander Zulfar was fighting a losing battle. His ship's hull was starting to buckle under the constant barrage of fire from the humans. He watched as one of his battleships was engulfed by an explosion, debris scattering across space. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. The humans, once thought of as weak, had just launched the most precise and devastating attack his fleet had ever faced. Zulfar growled, his patience wearing thin. Retreat, he ordered, his voice tinged with desperation. We have underestimated them for the last time. All ships, initiate emergency retreat protocols. But as he tried to pull his fleet back, he realized something even more terrifying. The human ships had anticipated this move. As the alien fleet turned to retreat, the humans unleashed a final devastating strike. A precise wave of missiles aimed directly at the retreating ships, cutting off any possibility of escape. Captain, we can't outrun them. An officer screamed, panic creeping into his voice. They're everywhere. We can't escape. The human fleet continued its relentless assault, never giving the aliens a chance to regroup or recover. It was a brutal, efficient display of force. The Phantom Fleet's technology was far superior to the aliens, and now the invaders were paying the price for their hubris. As the last of the alien ships began to retreat, Captain Lyra stood at the forefront of the Vanguard, her eyes cold and focused. Message to the alien fleet, she said, her voice steady and commanding. Tell them to never underestimate humanity again. The message was broadcast across the universe, a clear warning to all those who dared to challenge humanity. We will not be silenced. Back in space, the alien commanders were finally starting to come to grips with the reality of their defeat. Zulfar looked out at his shattered fleet, his face pale and tense. The humans had not just survived. They had fought back with everything they had. And the price for the aliens' arrogance was clear. Zulfar's voice trembled with rage as he spoke to his subordinates. We will not forget this. The humans may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. But even as he spoke those words, Zulfar knew the truth. Humanity had changed the course of history. Their strength, their determination, and their ability to fight back against impossible odds had proven one thing. They were no longer the underdogs. Now, the galaxy would learn to fear the wrath of humanity. The alien fleet was on the brink of collapse. What had begun as an overwhelming invasion force was now scattered and broken, retreating into the cold void of space. The humans, against all odds, had struck back with precision, driving their invaders to the edge of defeat. Yet, while victory was within their grasp, it was clear that this battle was only the beginning of a much larger struggle. The aliens, though retreating, would not forget the humiliating blow they had suffered at the hands of humanity. On Earth, a wave of quiet triumph swept through the hidden command centers. The Phantom Fleet, their stealth ships now revealed in all their glory, stood victorious. Captain Lyra surveyed the damage across the tactical holograms, her expression steely but tinged with a sense of cautious optimism. We've done it, Lieutenant Harper said, his voice carrying a mix of awe and disbelief. We've driven them back. Lyra nodded slowly, her eyes scanning the endless expanse of space on the holoscreen in front of her. It's not over, she replied, her voice calm but firm. The war has just begun. The aliens will lick their wounds and come back stronger, but now they know what we're capable of. Harper glanced nervously at her. Do you think they'll return in force? They will, Lyra said, her gaze never leaving the screen. But now, They know that humanity is not to be underestimated. Our hidden fleet has just shown them what we can do when we fight together. Meanwhile, in the depths of the alien fleet's command ship, Zolthar's fury simmered beneath his controlled exterior. His once confident demeanor had crumbled into one of quiet rage. His fleet had been outclassed, and the humans had made a mockery of his forces. Every alien officer in the command room knew what was coming. The aliens would not tolerate this humiliation. Zolthar slammed his fist onto the command table, shaking the room. "Prepare for retaliation," he snarled, his voice low but laced with fury. "We will not let this go unpunished. They will pay for this insolence." The alien officers around him exchanged uncertain glances. They had never seen their commander so shaken. The defeat was not only a loss in battle but a blow to their pride. Zolthar had always been confident that the invasion of Earth would be easy, but the humans had proven to be a far more formidable force than anticipated. "How do we begin?" one of the officers asked carefully. "We rebuild," Zolthar said, "and we return with a fleet that even humanity's hidden warriors cannot defeat. We have the resources, and we have the power. Earth will bow before us." Back on Earth, the message of humanity's unexpected victory spread quickly. News outlets buzzed with excitement, though most of the general public had no idea what had truly transpired behind the scenes. The governments, however, were fully aware of the scope of the battle. They knew that humanity's survival had hinged on the successful deployment of the hidden fleet, and they knew that the aliens would not forget the devastation they had caused. The international military leaders gathered in secret, their faces grim as they discussed the aftermath of the battle. The success of the Phantom Fleet had given humanity a glimmer of hope, but they were also well aware of the danger that still loomed. General Forrester, the head of Earth's military operations, addressed the council with a firm voice. "We may have won this battle, but we haven't won the war. The aliens will regroup, and they'll come back stronger than ever. We need to prepare for their return. We can't rely on surprise tactics forever." Lyra stood at the head of the table, her eyes locked with Forrester's. She had seen the look in his eyes, the recognition that they were now facing a war that would shape the future of their world. But she also knew that humanity had proven something important in this battle. They were no longer helpless. They were no longer just a species to be trampled on by invaders. They had the will to fight back. "We'll need to strengthen our fleet," Lyra said, her voice calm but resolute. "We must prepare for a long fight. But one thing is certain. We've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. The aliens won't come for Earth without thinking twice." In the cold void of space, the shattered remains of the alien fleet began to regroup. The battle had been a devastating defeat, but the aliens had survived. And in survival, they found a glimmer of hope. Zolthar had given the command to retreat, but his mind was already racing with thoughts of vengeance. He would not let this defeat define him. The humans had been bold, yes, but they had made a critical mistake. They had revealed their strength too early. Now it was his turn to strike back. The alien fleet, now in disarray but not broken, would regroup and rebuild. They would return, stronger and more relentless. Earth would pay the price for its defiance. But even as Zolthar plotted his revenge, there was one truth he couldn't ignore. The humans had proven themselves. They had fought back when all hope seemed lost, and that more than anything was what made them dangerous. The victory that had once felt like a turning point now hung over humanity like a shadow. The euphoria of success was short-lived. While the Phantom Fleet had dealt the aliens a severe blow, Earth had only won one battle in what would inevitably be a long and grueling war. The tactical advantage they'd gained from their surprise attack would soon be tested as the aliens began their recovery. The War Council convened once again in the secret underground bunkers, this time with a greater sense of urgency. The tactical room was filled with military leaders, strategists, and intelligence officers. A giant hologram of the galaxy hovered in the center of the room, showing the alien fleet's retreating path. General Forrester's face was grave as he addressed the council. "The enemy is regrouping," he said, pointing to the path of the alien fleet on the hologram. "And they're bringing reinforcements. This isn't over. We've shown them our strength, but they'll be back with a vengeance." The mood in the room was tense. The humans had struck with an unexpected force, but now they had to prepare for a response unlike anything they had seen before. The aliens would not let this defeat stand. Captain Lyra stood up, her expression hard as she scanned the faces of the council members. She knew that now, more than ever, the humans had to stay vigilant. Their strength was in unity, and they couldn't afford to splinter under the pressure of what was to come. "We must prepare our forces," she said. "Our stealth fleet can give us an edge, but we'll need more than surprise to win this war. The aliens will evolve, adapt, and grow more powerful. And we must do the same." Forrester nodded. "We're already working on reinforcing our defenses, but there's something else we need to consider: the civilians. The alien fleet might be aiming for Earth itself, but they'll strike where we least expect it. We need to ensure that our population is safe." Lyra clenched her fists. "Agreed. And that's why we need to expand our fleet. We've seen the destruction they're capable of. Earth isn't just a target for them. It's a symbol. They won't stop until they've crushed us." In the quiet corners of space, far from Earth, the aliens were already recovering. Zulfar, their furious commander, paced back and forth in the darkened war room aboard his flagship. He was enraged, not just by the defeat, but by the audacity of the humans. They had made an enemy of a force they could not hope to understand. Their hidden fleet had crushed his, but it wasn't just the loss of ships that stung. It was the blow to their pride. "How dare they mock us?" Zulfar growled, his voice low but filled with venom. "The humans will pay for this. They will feel the full force of our wrath." His officers, quiet until now, exchanged uncertain glances. They were used to Zulfar's anger, but something about the way he spoke this time sent a shiver through them. They had lost ships, but they had not lost hope. The fight wasn't over, and they knew it. Zulfar slammed his fist onto the control panel. "Send word to the fleet. We will rebuild, stronger than before. This time, we will hit them with everything we have. They will have nowhere to hide." A nearby officer spoke up. "And what of their stealth fleet, Commander?" Zulfar's lips curled into a cruel smile. "We have the means to counter their stealth technology. They think they're clever, hiding in the shadows. But we will find them. We will burn their hidden fleet to the ground." The alien fleet's commander wasn't just preparing for war. He was preparing for a reckoning. Earth had made an enemy of one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy, and Zulfar would ensure that humanity would regret it. On Earth, the people felt the quiet before the storm. The soldiers who had once thought of themselves as ordinary citizens were now soldiers on the front lines of an intergalactic war. The civilians, too, were beginning to sense the gravity of the situation. The peaceful lives they once led were shattered. Earth had become the center of a conflict that spanned the stars, and every day felt like a countdown to the next attack. In the hidden underground facilities, Lyra and her crew continued their preparations. The machines hummed, and the soldiers worked tirelessly to upgrade their ships, enhance their weapons, and prepare for the next battle. They knew that while the aliens were regrouping, they couldn't afford to be caught off guard. They had to strike first, before it was too late. Lyra stood in front of her team, her voice steady as she addressed them. "The next battle will be the hardest one yet. The aliens will come back stronger, more determined. But we've proven that humanity will not be broken. We faced the impossible before, and we will do it again. Our fleet will rise again. This time, we fight for the future of our world. And we will win." Her words rang with a fierce conviction that spread through the team. They had just begun to fight back, but this time, the fight wouldn't end until they'd pushed the aliens far from Earth's reach. The war was just beginning, but the humans had no intention of losing. Earth would stand strong, no matter the cost. The days leading up to the alien counterattack were filled with tension. Earth had become the epicenter of a galactic struggle, and both sides were preparing for the most significant confrontation the universe had ever seen. The silent, hidden fleet that had once been humanity's secret weapon was now at the forefront of their defense. In the war rooms of Earth, General Forrester stood before his officers, his voice grim. "The aliens are coming, and they are coming with everything they have. This will not be like the first skirmish. We cannot afford to underestimate them." The news had just arrived. The alien fleet was on its way, and they were bringing reinforcements from every corner of their empire. What was once an invasion force now seemed like the beginning of an all-out war. The holographic displays on the wall flickered, showing the alien ships advancing toward Earth's position. Their numbers were overwhelming, and the humans' hidden fleet, while formidable, was still outnumbered. Captain Lyra, who had become a symbol of human resilience, studied the projections with intensity. "We knew they would come back," she said, her voice unwavering. "But we've prepared for this. Our stealth ships are ready. We know their tactics and we know their weaknesses. We've taken their best shot. Now it's time to give them ours." The team gathered around the table, each of them fully aware that they were standing at the edge of a cliff, with no way to turn back. Every decision they made in the coming hours could determine the fate of Earth and of humanity itself. Meanwhile, aboard the alien flagship, Zolthar seethed with anger. His fleet had been humiliated by the humans' unexpected strike, and he would not let it happen again. His rage consumed him, and every inch of his being was focused on one thing: revenge. "This time, we will not hold back," Zolthar declared to his officers. "We will not allow these insignificant creatures to mock us any longer. Prepare for a full-scale assault. No mercy. No quarter." His officers exchanged uncertain glances. They had seen Zolthar's fury before, but this was different. There was something in his eyes, something dark and dangerous, that sent a chill through the crew. Zolthar wasn't just angry. He was bent on destruction. The alien commander's voice dropped to a low, menacing growl. "Humanity has underestimated us for far too long. Now we will show them the true cost of their defiance." His command was final. The fleet powered up its weapons and set its course directly for Earth. The silence in the command room was deafening as the reality of the impending battle set in. Back on Earth, as humanity prepared for the worst, the countdown began. The people of Earth were no strangers to fear, but this was different. There had been peace for so long. Humanity had no real understanding of the depth of the alien threat until now. From the frontline command centers, Captain Lyra gave orders. "All stealth ships, position yourselves along the outer perimeter. We'll take the fight to them before they can reach Earth's atmosphere. Our goal is to cripple their fleet, not just defend our world." The fleet moved into position, the stealth ships gliding silently through the void of space, hidden from enemy sensors. They were Earth's last line of defense. Humanity's secret weapon had been unleashed, but the aliens were ready. Their forces were vast, and their weapons were powerful. The humans' only hope was that their element of surprise would give them the edge they needed. As the first reports came in, it became clear: the aliens had located Earth's fleet. The battle was about to begin. Back on the alien flagship, Zolthar watched the holograms of his advancing fleet. His eyes glinted with fury as he saw the humans' forces positioning themselves. "They think they can hide from us," he sneered. "Let's see how long they can keep that up." He issued the command to engage. The entire fleet surged forward, faster than ever before. Their weapons began to power up, and the first energy bursts shot across the vastness of space. The battle had begun in earnest. The first salvo from the alien fleet hit one of Earth's stealth ships, sending it into a catastrophic spiral. The humans had no time to mourn. They had to fight for their world, fight for their future. Lyra watched from the command deck as the battle unfolded. "This is it," she whispered, barely audible. "This is what we've been training for." The humans were not ready to give up, not ready to surrender to the overwhelming force of the aliens. They fought back with everything they had. Their stealth ships zipped across the galaxy like shadows, firing at the alien fleet before disappearing back into the void. For hours, the battle raged. Earth's fleet was pushed to its limits, but the aliens were relentless. The tide of war seemed to ebb and flow, but for every blow the humans struck, the aliens struck back harder. The cost of the battle became evident as Earth's fleet began to lose ships. The stealth fleet was still strong, but it wasn't enough to counter the alien firepower. The humans had underestimated just how advanced the alien forces were. They were facing a battle they could not afford to lose. Lyra's voice was steady but filled with urgency. We need to launch everything we have. We cannot hold back any longer. If we do, we lose Earth. The moment of truth had arrived. The human forces pushed forward with all their might. Earth's survival was on the line, and there would be no turning back. As the battle continued, both sides knew this would be the pivotal moment in the war. Whoever won would determine the future of the galaxy. And as the final attacks launched, both humans and aliens braced for the impact of their forces colliding. The silence in the command room was deafening as both sides prepared for the decisive moment. Every human in the room felt the weight of what was to come. The battleship fleets, the stealth ships, the advanced weapons, they had all led to this single point in time. Earth's survival depended on the outcome of this final clash. Captain Lyra stood at the helm of Earth's flagship, her eyes narrowed in focus as she observed the alien fleet closing in. She could feel the tension in the air, thick with the anticipation of the inevitable. The alien ships, with their massive guns and dark, menacing silhouettes, had crossed the threshold. There was no turning back now. On the opposite side of the galaxy, Zolthar's eyes burned with fury. The humans had embarrassed him before, but this time, he would make sure there would be no mercy. His fleet was larger, stronger, and more advanced than anything Earth could muster. He had the power to obliterate them in an instant. The final battle would be a statement, not just of power, but of dominance over an inferior species that had dared to defy him. "Prepare to strike," Zolthar ordered, his voice cold and commanding. "We crush them now. Let this be the last time anyone dares to challenge us." The human fleet readied itself, the hum of the engines reverberating through the halls as the ships moved into their battle formations. The stealth ships had taken position far from the alien armada, hidden in the shadows of distant moons and asteroid fields, their cloaks activated, ready to strike from the darkness. Lyra, standing firm on the bridge, gripped the controls tightly. "All units, engage at maximum speed. We hold nothing back," she ordered, her voice calm, though her heart raced in her chest. This was humanity's moment of truth. Their greatest weapon, their hidden fleet, had come out of the shadows. Now, it was time to see if it would be enough. The first shot came from the alien fleet, a deadly beam of energy streaking across the void toward Earth's flagship. It struck with the power of 1,000 suns, rocking the ship violently. The crew staggered, some of them falling to the floor, but they quickly regained their footing. The ship was damaged, but not destroyed. "We're not finished yet," Lyra shouted as the crew worked tirelessly to restore their defenses. The response from Earth's fleet was swift. Stealth ships appeared from the shadows, their weapons charging with incredible power. The first salvo from the human fleet exploded across the alien ships, sending shockwaves through their ranks. For the first time, the aliens seemed uncertain. They had not expected the humans to fight back with such ferocity. Zolthar's command ship trembled as the explosions rocked his fleet. He snarled, his anger boiling over. "Send everything we have at them. No mercy." The alien ships unleashed a barrage of missiles, bombs, and plasma cannons in a vicious retaliation. The human fleet maneuvered, evading the fire with practiced precision. The stealth ships dodged and weaved between asteroid fields, firing torpedoes that detonated with blinding force on the alien vessels. Captain Lyra stood tall, her voice steady as she called out commands. "Target their command ships. Take out their leadership. We need to break their coordination. One by one, Earth's ships unleashed concentrated fire on the alien flagship, focusing on weakening its shields. The alien command ship's massive defenses flickered as it struggled to hold against the barrage. Meanwhile, aboard Zolthar's flagship, his officers scrambled to regain control. His fleet, once organized and powerful, was beginning to break apart under the relentless assault. The humans had surprised them. They were fierce, far fiercer than Zolthar had ever anticipated. "How are we losing to these insects?" Zolthar demanded, his fury blinding him to the bigger picture. His fleet was starting to retreat, their vessels falling one by one to the precision of Earth's hidden fleet. "We need reinforcements," one of his officers called out in desperation, but it was too late. The humans had them cornered. Zolthar's great pride and arrogance had led him to underestimate humanity, and now they were paying the price. Back on Earth, the battle raged on, but there was hope. The human fleet had gained the upper hand. With each strike, they pushed the alien forces back, sending them retreating into the darkness of space. Lyra watched as the alien flagship staggered under the weight of Earth's relentless barrage. The once confident fleet was now a shadow of its former self. For the first time, Earth's fleet was not just surviving. They were winning. "Fire at will," Lyra ordered, her voice unwavering. "Let's finish this." In that moment, the final blow came. A precise missile strike from one of Earth's stealth ships pierced the heart of the alien flagship. The massive vessel shuddered and exploded in a blinding flash of light, sending debris scattered across the battlefield. The alien forces were thrown into chaos, and their retreat was imminent. As the alien fleet began to scatter, Zolthar realized the truth. The humans, who had once been thought of as insignificant, had defeated him. Their hidden fleet, their unyielding determination, and their resilience had crushed him. Zolthar's vision of conquest had crumbled into dust. On Earth, the victory was celebrated, but it came with a heavy price. Humanity had fought for survival, and they had won. But they had learned a hard truth. Their enemies were not to be underestimated, and they could not afford to let their guard down again.